Hello everyone, you're watching Newcastle United Live on Times YouTube channel. My name's Rob and today I'm joined by Paul, Len and Owen, and we're here to discuss Newcastle's home game against Chelsea tomorrow with a 3 p.m. kickoff, and there's no UK TV coverage. So the usual suspects are still out. Lewis Hall can't play because of Chelsea being his mother club, so we've got Anderson, Wilson, Botman, Barnes, Murphy, Manquillo on the sick bed. Kieran Trippier, I believe, is going to play, and Miggy, I believe he's going to play it, but we'll see. Owen, do you want to start first with your take on tomorrow's game? How you see it'll go?
Yeah, I can do. I mean, I was thinking about this today. Actually, I think under normal circumstances, I'm always confident especially with playing at home under Howe. I think other than Man City, and even if we play them now with a full strength, I would still have the same level of confidence. But it's just my only downside, and it's not wanting to put like a negative spin on it. It's just the fact of how many players is out. I mean, I was looking, when the Chronicle does something where it can pick your preferred 11 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things on social media where it comes up like what the most popular 11 is. And actually, if the most popular did come out tomorrow, I'd be fully confident. But I think the problem we have, and I think I touched on it on the last show, is that I think our strength is when we've got a good bench, and if we can change the game like 65, 70 minutes. So, if we support I mean, if the first 11 that is expected to turn out tomorrow, and to be honest with you, I don't think Isak will play. I think Tuesday is probably the game that Howe will want him to get like in the starting 11. I think that a good sort of half an hour, 35 minutes tomorrow would suit Isak in preparation for Tuesday. Would that mean that Gordon goes up front of Joe Linton and has a knock-on effect on who would go on the wing or whatever? But yeah, I mean, it just just the fact that we're still. I know we've got a couple of players back. Almiron is fit according to the House press conference today. Isak's another one, but I don't think he'll start. But other than those two, I think the injury list, like you mentioned, Rob, just at the beginning, there is still pretty long. That said, I think when we're at home on a Saturday, particularly 3 o'clock kickoff, I think that wouldn't give anyone a game. I think that the team that we put out tomorrow is still capable. Now, I think Chelsea, that whilst they haven't hit the straps yet under Pochettino, they're starting to come together a little bit. I think that they've scored 8 goals in the last 2 games. I know the Tottenham game was a bit of a sort of, the caveat of that being is that they had 2 sent off or whatever. So, but to score 4 against Man City at home, you can see that they've got some strength going forward. So yeah, I mean, personally, I still think that we would have enough. But my worry is if obviously if we're chasing the game, if they go 1-0 and you're talking like 60, 70 minutes and we have to change the game, then that's where I'd get a little bit sort of doubtful or whatever. But, optimistically, I still think when going to the game, I still think we can get a result,
Okay, very good. Paul, how do you see tomorrow going?
Yeah, I think, sorry, the dog's just starting as I'm speaking.
Pizza delivery.
I know, it's typical, isn't it? I still think there'll be a few, like Owen says. I think the first 11's pretty strong, and I think I'm with him. I think Isak will start on the bench. Another thing I think he might do tomorrow is he could bring Kraft in. I'm just thinking he might bring Kraft in and stick Livramento on the wing, because he's tended to sort of not pick Miggy if he's been away or he's been injured. So I'm thinking he might put Livramento on the wing and put Kraft at right back, stick Trippier on the left. But another thing he could, like I say, he could put Gordon could start up front again, but I don't think that's his best position. The last 2 or 3 games he's played, it hasn't looked like it's worked up front, has it? That's why he switched him against Bournemouth. He put Joe Linton up there. And I don't think he's as good with his back to goal as Joe Linton. He's better running with the ball. His pace and strength just run with the ball and slotting someone in or just brushing people off the ball. But I think back to goal has proved when he first came, he's not really a centre forward, is he? But we haven't got many options, have we? Like up front at the minute, obviously Murphy's out. Barnes could possibly have played there. Obviously Wilson, and obviously Isak's he's not fully fit. So does he start Isak and get 60 out of him, keep him for Tuesday, or does he sort of bring him off the bench for half an hour to go? Because I know he likes impact subs, doesn't he? How? So I think the back four more or less picks itself. Obviously, there's another issue with Botman. He's saying today in the press conference that he might be back in in a week or two. I think they're just waiting to see if there's any reaction to something. He wouldn't quite give the injury away. So I'm hoping he avoids an operation, because if he gets an operation, they're talking about February. He's out till so. And I think it's his knee, isn't it? So I don't know what they're doing. I think they're waiting to see if if swelling comes up or something. They must have given like an injection or something. So they're just going to wait and see what happens there. But obviously Lascelles has been doing well when Botman's been out. We haven't really missed him, to be honest. Obviously, Lewis Hall can't play tomorrow. Where I think the midfield are seeing Longstaff, and I loves to play Longstaff, but he's hardly trained. So I think Longstaff could start on the bench. But then it all depends if he puts Joe Linton up front. If he puts Joe Linton up front, then Longstaff will start. So it's going to be tough. I think they've picked up the last couple of games. Obviously, as Owen said, that you can't really judge him on a 9-man Tottenham because, to be honest, it took them half an hour to break Tottenham down playing that high line, didn't it? Then the Man City game, that was a good result. Obviously, they didn't score goals, Chelsea, but I think they conceded a lot. You can definitely get at them. I just think with our home form, I think we will beat them tomorrow. I think we'll turn up, and I think we'll always, every time we get beat, we seem to respond. We'll always come back with a positive result.
Good point.
Under Eddie Howe, we'll definitely always come back stronger, because Bournemouth definitely wasn't ourselves, and he'd be drumming that into them. But I think, like Owen said again, later on, I think it could be dodgy if they go a goal up, because they've got very quick players on the break. So I think we'll have to go a goal or two up, and then obviously let them come on to us, and then try and pick them off. Because I think Silva's quite slow now, isn't he, at the back? But I think he said before that Nkunku's not back yet, so that's a bonus. Obviously, him coming off the bench might be a problem, but I still think we'll have enough for them. I know they've picked up, but I think we'll have too much for them, to be honest. I think we've got quite a strong 11, and I think a couple of lads off the bench. Obviously, Isak might come off, and I still think we'll beat them.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Len, what's your take predictions on tomorrow? How do you see panning out?
Well, I suppose 3 weeks ago, when I looked at this fixture, I thought, well, bring it on. Chelsea struggling a little bit for form, not sure what their best players were, that type of thing. And I think certainly your mind's completely changed over the last couple of weeks, because we've gone on a bit of bad run and they've gone on a good run. 8 goals, as somebody said there, in the last 4 games against top sides. They're obviously very good away from home. I think only Spurs and Man City have got a better away record. We've obviously got an excellent home record, so I think it'll be a close game. But I think you're quite right what you say. I think our starting 11 could get a result, but there's nothing on the bench. I mean, looking at what's going to be on the bench, there's no game changer there. So if things aren't going well, there's nobody you can bring on, because I think Isak will start. I think Eddie Howe will start with his best side he possibly can, and he'll worry about the Champions League when it comes. It's important that we'll get the 3 points, or at least a point tomorrow, just to keep us up there where we need to be. It's a start of 9 games in 20, something like 9 games in a month. So it's 2 games a week.
Yeah,
starting tomorrow right up to Christmas, the 23rd, I think, of December. 9 games in a month, and it's important to get off to a good start, because what you don't want is not to win tomorrow, or not to get a positive result and then go into the Champions League games. On a positive note, I think I was listening to some other podcasts today, and they were basically saying we've not lost a 3:00 kickoff since Eddie Howe's been manager. We've won 10. This is off the top of my head. I think
home or away, Len? Home or away? Sorry? Just home games.
I don't know whether it's home or away. All I heard was we've had 16 3:00 kickoffs since Eddie Howe's been manager, and we've not lost one of them. So I haven't since gone on to check whether that's home and away, but we've not been beaten. That's a positive. Keep it going. It's important that we do. As far as the starting lineup's concerned, I think it will be the strongest lineup that he can do. I think Tino will play on the right with Miggy in front of him, and Trips will be moved to the left with Gordon in front of him, and Isak will start. And as you say, it'll be a toss-up between Willock and Longstaff in midfield, depending on who's fit. But the bench looks dire. It really does. Yeah, you know, I'm looking at players who would come up, who could possibly come off and do something. Well, you might have Miley, you might have Richie. Other than that, you got Parkinson. Is he really going to make a difference? He's too young to really know what he could possibly do. So scraping the bare bones. So I think he's got to start with his best 11, because else we're going to go, maybe he's on recent form, we're going to go 1 or 2 down, and then he's going to make changes, and those changes won't improve the side. So I'm a bit more cautious than you two so far. You know, I believe that I don't believe we will win the match. That's my prediction, but I don't think we'll lose.
Right. Well, what I'm going to do now is this bit's my favourite bit. I'm going to go on precise score.
Rob, what's your thoughts on the match?
My thoughts on the match. Oh, see, when you go last, I think everyone summed it up. I can't say anything that no one has said. I think it will be a tough game. I do think it'll be a tough game. I don't think we'll dominate the game by any stretch of the imagination. I think Chelsea will come out with, they'll attack, they'll not sit back, they'll go for the juggler.
I think they'll hit one the break. I don't think they'll gun it with. I think they'll try and counter with.
Well, that's my opinion.
They've got 2 or 3 really tricky players, though. You know, I mean, Raheem Sterling, if he decides he wants to turn up tomorrow, as he has done in recent games, we're going to have a nightmare.
Yeah, but our 2 fullbacks are probably quite strong, aren't they? I think we could deal with him.
I hope so.
I think the other good thing as well, the positive thing for me, is that Bruno's playing, and I think when Bruno plays for Newcastle, we've always got a chance, and that's you know, I said in the last show against Bournemouth, I was worried going to that game, because I just, you know, in terms of someone getting on the ball, making a tick and bring the best out of the players, I didn't think we would necessarily get that, but you know, he's back. He played tomorrow, and Newcastle are a totally different team. So you know, I'm still optimistic. I get what Len's saying, because, like I said, the bench, it's just like, unless Isak is on the bench, there's no sort of danger coming off that. And I think if you're chasing the game, but Len, I take the other approach to you. I just think that what Hal will do, he'll want to contain the game as much as he can up until 60, 65 minutes, and try and get one of that. Similarly to what we did against Arsenal, you know, and that seemed to work, didn't it? Because obviously we won 1-0. So
are you basically saying he might not pick? He might leave, say, Isak and Miggy out, knowing that at least he's got a couple of game changers to bring on.
I think he will.
I think you start Gordon up front. I think that's
so do I.
And he like that. It all depends on Longstaff. Longstaff's fit, you play. If he's not, I think that you put Miley in, and you put Willock on the left. And who would be on the right if that was the case of Gordon's?
So you could put Tino on the right, couldn't you?
On the left, yeah. So I guess it all depends. You know, it's like, but this is the thing where it's not, the options are very low on, isn't it? It's like normally.
I just think if you're putting Gordon centre forward, it's not his best position. He sometimes plays okay there. He'll run all day long, but then I think you're losing what, you know, his best position is left wing, left midfield. Yeah. And I think you're then losing that, because Willock's not as good as him in that position. So it's hard, isn't it?
But yeah, I'll be astonished if he starts Isak. I think that he's got one eye on Tuesday. The amount of time that he's been out injured and what have you, and I just think he'd be looking half an hour tomorrow, and then maybe he's, you know, try and get 70, 80 out of him on Tuesday at PSG.
Right, so score predictions then. We'll start with Len.
I'm going to sit well and truly on the fence, and I think it'll be a score draw. I think it'll be 1-1.
Okay. Paul?
Right.
You weren't going to go for 1-1.
It's not a trick question.
I wasn't. No, I looked at your reaction. I think we're going to shade it. I think it's going to be 1-0.
1-0. Owen?
Yeah.
I'm with Anders. I think a 1-0.
Right. I think I've got to go with Len. I'm going to go ones each. I don't like saying that, obviously, but I don't know.
Rob, you're a good judge. I think
I've just got a bit of a bad feeling about tomorrow.
I do actually. I do.
I have not at home. I haven't at home. They're not. They've improved, but you know, they're 10th for a reason, aren't they?
It's like it's what I'm concerned about is if things aren't going well throughout the game, right? And everyone's touched on this, what we've got to come off the bench to change the game. That's my concern. Listen, of course I want them to win, of course I do, but I'm going to go for ones each. You touched on it before, Len. If you had asked me this question about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have went, yeah, we'll batter them.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I'm going to go for ones each. So
the thing is, though, we're going to have to get Isak through these next few because you're talking another 4 weeks for Wilson. So they're going to have to rotate Isak and Gordon up front, or possibly Joe Linton. They're going to, although Harvey Barnes will be coming back the next week or two, that'll be a bit of a bonus. But he's going to have to get up to speed, isn't he? He hasn't played for since Sheffield United. That's a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's quite coy about Wilson as well. I think he was asked today in his press conference what the situation was, and he just said it's unknown. So
didn't give a date, did he?
So
he said it was his thing, so I hope he hasn't torn it. But he came off as precaution, so you wouldn't think he had, would you?
No.
Do you think in January a striker's what's our priority?
Hey, Rob, I'm dead pleased you've mentioned it. You know, normally at the end you say, has anybody got anything else to say? I just wondered if we had 2 or 3 minutes to discuss this, because this is my opinion. My opinion is striker is number 1 priority in January, right? Yeah. That's it. Simple as that. It was in the last window, it was in the window before, and it's now coming to bite on the bum because we're now sitting, we haven't even got a striker. We need a striker. We need a top-class striker. Wilson's going to be 3rd choice striker moving forward. We need a top-class striker to come in. So there's 3 of them, and we need a fit striker because it's going to cause us big problems, not only in the up-and-coming games, but as it has done already this season. We haven't got a centre-forward when, we've got 2 centre-forwards that are injured all the time. So a top priority is a top striker.
Would you go for that, Anders? A striker, top priority? Yeah.
He's definitely got to bring one in. I mean, we said if Isak or Wilson gets injured, we're snookered, and then both of them were injured. Yeah. Obviously, Wilson's injury prone, but I think Isak is as well. Since he come, he's always had these little niggles. He plays 4 or 5 games where he's brilliant, and then he's out for 2 or 3. And normally it's when he goes on these international breaks.
I think the time has come. It's hard to say because Wilson's an excellent player. He's been outstanding, and if it wasn't for injuries, he would be one of our. He'd go down in history as one of our best strikers. As it happens, the fact is he won't because he doesn't play enough, and it is time where we start thinking about his replacement because. Yes, he will be at the club. Even if we bring another striker in, it's no problem for Wilson. He's still going to get 10, 15, 20 games a season, and he's still going to get into double figures in goals. He's going to do roughly what he does, but it means we can we can set it up differently. He can pick which games he plays, or Eddie Howe can pick which games he plays, rather than being forced into playing him, forced into him come back from injuries too soon and that type of thing. So the time has come. I mean, Owen, obviously, what's your thoughts on it? I'm certain you'll agree with us.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? But I would agree definitely. I think if we're going to bring a player in, that's got to be the priority, centre forward. But interestingly, in Howe's press conference today, he was asked the question about transfers, and what he said, well, look, I cannot answer that until we know what the situation is come January. He says it could look completely different, and he's really good at press conferences, isn't he? He always sort of sits on the fence. He doesn't give much away, which is a good thing. But what he did say is that obviously, as it stands now, if it was the case, the situation now, they'd have to go into the market and they'd have to look at someone. But it could look completely different when it comes to January, when everyone's fit. And he, obviously believes in his squad. But even so, right? If I personally, Len, I agree. If it was a case of we'll get to January and everyone's fit, I would still get it.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah, 100%.
The record of the two was just like. Wilson's record's atrocious, even though, he does fantastically well. And I think he's a great player, but he can't manage as many games. And Isak's still young. Maybe he's just been a little bit unlucky with injuries he's had. But, there's been a couple of spells where he's been out injured, and it's like, it has had an impact. So, yeah, to answer your question, then definitely I think that we do need to look at that like that.
Because there's no doubt about it. Gordon, the centre forward, isn't good enough. Joe Linton, centre forward, isn't good enough. And if we want to be where we need to be in this season and in the next couple of seasons, we need to have a top striker, and they're putting pressure on these players as well when everybody is fit. Imagine the scenario where you've got Isak, Wilson and another top class striker all champing at the bit. The fact of the matter is there'll only ever be 2 of them fit at any one time anyway. So yeah, I can't wait for January, but I think recently you'll be more thinking bring in a younger striker, somebody to start a challenge and come through in the next couple of years. I think that's changed now. I think we need a proven goal scorer.
Is there anyone? Sorry, Owen. Is there anyone that you would have in mind, Len?
Well, if we not particularly, I keep hearing names. I'm not very good with European football, and so you do hear names coming up. I honestly believe if we can't secure a top class striker in January for whatever reason, I don't see any harm in going for a young up and coming striker, possibly, or even one further on in their career, where they're going to come in and be like a loan signing till the end of the season. Yeah, where they might just get with 6 or 7 goals that get us over the line.
Mitro,
for example. Yeah, he would be an example. Somebody who you maybe wouldn't want to commit to on a permanent basis.
Benzema.
Well, Mitro would be a good one, but I certainly wouldn't. That's for another podcast talking about.
Well, the door's open for that now, isn't it? So.
Well, it is, and we could debate all day long. My general opinion on that is steer clear of those players on a permanent basis. Bring 1 or 2 in on loan if they're going to improve the squad, but I wouldn't be signing any of them permanently. You've got to question their attitude to the game and why they've gone over there. They've gone over there for one reason only, and that maybe isn't the type of player for Newcastle United.
I'll tell you what was worrying today, though, a little bit worrying on his press conference, I thought, was when he mentioned if we had a fully fit squad, they probably wouldn't buy in January. I don't know if you've heard that, Owen, but he said last year we needed a player like Anthony Gordon. There was one line he put there, he said we probably wouldn't look to buy in January. I thought, well, surely you need a striker.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I mean, one thing Howard does, he protects the squad all the time, doesn't he? He was asked the question today, what does Isak bring to the team that Wilson doesn't? And he just wouldn't answer it. He's like, no. Why would he? Do you know what I mean? It's like, obviously, his players listens to the press conferences, so he's always in that mode. You never get a definitive answer from him, I don't think. It's a good quality to have because, like I say, it doesn't give much away, you know what I mean? So he does toe the line a little bit. But yeah, I think, again, just going back to that, I absolutely think we need another centre forward. It'll not happen. It'll not happen certainly this window, and whether another one. But the lad from Brighton, is it the Irish kid, Evan Ferguson? I think he got...
yeah.
I would love to see
young kid.
I'd love to see what go for him. Like whether it'll happen, I don't know. But
just signed a new contract, hasn't he? Just signed a new
so he's ready to leave then, isn't he? On the basis of the way modern football works, he signed a big contract, puts his price up. Owen, you've hit the nail on the head. That would be the best of every world because that's somebody who can come in and do a job immediately. And we could have him for many years, and you don't know much about him. When you watch him play, he does seem like a Newcastle United Eddie Howe type player. So
they don't need the money though, do they? They've made a lot of money lately. They don't need the money, right? I would just sell for less than 100 million. They're not going to pay 100 million for a 19-year-old.
No.
Osman would be a good signing, but he's going to be south of 100 million as well, isn't he?
Who's that? Sorry, Anders, did you say?
Osman, Napoli striker.
I don't know.
Oh, he's a class player, him.
I think, actually, Paul, you said Mitro earlier on. I think Mitro would be low risk for a loan deal because I think people were talking about him signing for Newcastle United before he went over there. And I think, maybe a little bit divided, but he has proven to score goals in the Premier League. And obviously, with the connections we have, why not get him in till the end of the season? Because
he can hold the ball as well, can't he?
Of course he can.
He'd hold the ball.
But the problem is he probably doesn't chase as much as what we maybe need now. But he certainly would be.
Doesn't press, does he? Doesn't press.
No. But you've just got to look at the squad as it currently stands. And if he was playing tomorrow, we would beat Chelsea.
I don't think they'll get anyone on loan from Saudi. I just think that.
I think they'll stay clear.
Yeah, there's so much scrutiny.
Do you think they'll stay clear on purpose?
Yeah, I do. I just think that the length of the takeover going through, all eyes on it, stuff like that. I think that any excuse
will be blown up, won't it?
For Newcastle to break the rules or whatever, they'll just be running straight away. So I can't see it happening. Do you know what I mean? So I might be wrong, but yeah, I'd be surprised.
Well, I think the other week when they had Dan Ashworth giving that interview, I think he just dropped that. He dropped that saying that in the minute there's nothing to stop us signing a player from Saudi, and the top 6 have got together going, oh, hang on, we need to bring something out. And they've bit and it's reversed on them. Yeah. I think they've just risen to the bait, and I don't think we've got no intention of getting anyone from Saudi. If you've got to pay half of Neves' wages, you still got to pay 200,000 a week. He's on about 400 grand a week.
It's remarkable the amount of money that they're earning over there. You can't blame them for going over there, but when you're getting players, there's 1 or 2 players gone over there like in the mid 20s and in the prime of their career. And they're going over there for money. And part of you can't blame them, but part of you thinks, well, you can earn a fortune anywhere else. You know, some of them are playing in front of 600 and 700 fans, man. It's crazy.
The one I would love, which I don't know if he would come, would be Mahrez. I think
Oh,
he'd be
yeah.
a good signing
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, yeah, he's one where you would think, yeah, he would enhance
Isn't-
our.
isn't
He
the-
fit in
isn't the
quite
talk
nicely,
about
wouldn't
Sorry, Len. Isn't the talk of going back in for that? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the kid from PSG. Is it
Ticket.
Ekitike.
Aye.
I'd stay clear of him. His attitude.
Well, he had his chance, didn't he? Just
Well, they reckon
think
his
that- I
attitude
think
at PSG's training
Aye.
was terrible, and he got dropped from the training ground or something.
But there has been talk of us being back in, as you say, and I think there is talk that we are back in for him. But I sort of agree with Paul. From what little I know, I think he's one to maybe stay clear of.
He didn't want any bad eggs in that changing room. We've got a good
Maybe
camaraderie.
he's dodged a bullet with him, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
if someone has the opportunity to sign on Newcastle United, and they choose not to, see you later. You didn't come back, do you? You didn't come back.
I don't think they will. I think it's the agent and the press bigging it up.
Yeah. Right, lads, listen, time's running out. So when are we going to do the Chelsea review? Do you want to do it on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you up for it, Owen?
Sunday afternoon, yeah, should be all right, yeah.
We're scheduled for about 3:00. Yeah.
Yeah, later on, Rob. I'll need to go out on Sunday, yeah.
Right, chaps. Great show, great points, good crack as usual. And right, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, Rob, Paul, Len, and Owen, take care, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you all soon. So long now.